A time in the wilderness, c. 1250 BC. The making of the Ark of the Covenant heat is absolute. You stand in the Sinai wilderness, surrounded by a sea of tents made from goat hair and animal skins, stretched over wooden poles in every direction. The encampment sprawls across the rocky plain at the foot of a granite mountain, whose peak disappears into a perpetual mantle of cloud and smoke. The air smells of dust, dried dung fires, and the faint metallic tang of copper being worked somewhere nearby. It is approximately 1250 BC, though no one here measures time in such terms. These people count days since leaving Egypt, moons since crossing the sea, generations since Abraham. You are witnessing the moment when a nomadic people, recently escaped from for centuries of bondage, attempt something that should be impossible: the creation of a sacred vessel, built to exact specifications, in the middle of a desert, with limited tools and no permanent workshop. The man descending from the mountain is Moses, and he has been absent for 40 days. You watch as the elders gather to hear what he carries, not merely commandments inscribed on stone tablets, but detailed architectural instructions for a portable sanctuary. And its central object, nothing about this design is negotiable. In this camp, obedience is not an abstract virtue, it is the condition by which the presence of God can dwell. Among the people, the specifications are precise. You hear them transmitted through the camp in the following days: a chest of acacia wood, 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, 1.5 cubits high. In the measurement system of this people, this translates to approximately 131 centimeters by 79 centimeters. The wood must be overlaid with pure gold, inside and out. A gold molding must run around its upper edge, for gold rings must be cast and attached to its feet. 2 poles of acacia wood, also gold covered, must pass through these rings permanently. They are never to be removed. A cover of solid gold, the capare, must be made for the top, with 2 cherubim of hammered gold rising from its ends, their wings spreading upward and inward, their faces turned toward each other and downward toward the cover. You understand immediately the fundamental problem. These are former slaves. They have been metal workers in Egypt, yes, forced laborers who built storage cities and monuments, but they carry no foundries, no permanent forges, no steady supply of charcoal. They are in a desert where acacia trees are scarce and scattered along dry wadis. They possess gold only because they took it from their Egyptian neighbors. During the chaotic night of departure, jewelry, vessels, ornaments, the transformation of rings and earrings into architectural gold work requires skills, tools, and conditions that seem absent, yet you will watch it happen. The first step is the gathering of materials, and this begins immediately. Moses calls for a voluntary offering: whoever has gold, silver, bronze, blue and purple and scarlet yarn, fine linen, goat hair, ram skins dyed red, acacia wood, oil, spices, onyx stones, all these are to be brought. You observe the collection point near Moses' tent. Women remove earrings and nose rings. Men bring the gold armbands they took from Egyptian houses. The pile grows over several days. The man chosen to oversee the construction is Bezalel, son of Uri, son of Hur, from the tribe of Judah. You observe him closely in the days following his appointment. He is perhaps 30 years old, with the calloused hands of someone who has worked metal since childhood. In Egypt, he would have been part of the labor teams that produced decorative objects for temples and palaces, not as an honored craftsman, but as a skilled slave whose abilities were exploited without recognition. Now, for the first time, his skills belong to his own people. What was once learned under bondage is now repurposed for obedience, skill itself, becoming an instrument placed at the service of a divine command. His assistant is Oholiab, son of Ahisamach, from the tribe of Dan. Between them, they possess knowledge of metalworking, woodworking, stone cutting, and textile production. But knowledge alone builds nothing. They need a workforce. You watch as they identify and organize every skilled person in the encampment. There are women who spin thread with exceptional fineness. There are men who learn bronze casting in Egyptian workshops. There are former construction workers who understand joinery without nails, using only wooden pegs and fitted joints. The labor is divided systematically. This is not a single craftsman creating a masterpiece in isolation, it is managed production. A coordinated effort involving perhaps hundreds of hands over many weeks. The wood comes first. Acacia trees grow in the Sinai, but not abundantly. You follow the teams that venture into the Wadis, the dry riverbeds where these thorny trees find enough moisture to survive. The acacia is hard, dense, and resistant to decay, ideal for construction. Difficult to work. The trees are cut with bronze axes, a slow process that takes hours for each trunk. The logs are carried back to camp on the shoulders of men, sometimes requiring teams of 4 or 6 for larger pieces. At the camp, the wood must be processed. You watch the carpenters at work. They use bronze adzes to shape rough planks, bronze chisels to cut joints, and abrasive stones to smooth surfaces. There are no saws, as later centuries will know them. Each cut is made by controlled chipping and scraping. The planks for the ark must be precise, consistent thickness, straight edges, surfaces smooth enough to accept gold overlay without gaps or bubbles. The wood is still green when cut. It contains moisture that will cause warping and shrinkage as it dries. The carpenters know this. You observe them stacking planks in the shade of a large tent, separated by smaller sticks to allow air circulation. The drying process cannot be rushed. Weeks pass, the encampment remains in place, and the wood slowly stabilizes. When the planks are ready, the chest is assembled. You stand close as Bezalel himself oversees this work. The joints are cut with extraordinary care mortise and tenon connections that lock together without metal fasteners. The box must be strong enough to support the weight of its gold overlay and its solid gold cover, yet light enough to be carried by men using poles. The carpenters test the fit, disassemble, adjust, reassemble. There is no margin for error. Once the gold is applied, nothing can be modified. The gold arrives at Bezalel's workshop in the form of objects, earrings shaped like crescents, and discs, armbands with geometric patterns, rings of various sizes, small vessels, and fragments of decorative items. All of this must be reduced to raw material before it can become anything new. You watch the melting process. The goldsmiths have constructed small furnaces from clay and stone, bellows made from goat skins attached to clay pipes. Charcoal is the fuel produced by burning acacia wood in covered pits, a process that itself takes several days. The gold objects are placed in clay crucibles and inserted into the furnaces. Men work the bellows in shifts, maintaining the temperature necessary to liquefy the metal. The heat is intense. You see sweat running down their faces, evaporating almost immediately in the dry air. The molten gold is poured into flat clay molds to create sheets, or into sand molds for the cast rings that will hold the carrying poles. The sheets emerge rough and uneven. They must be hammered repeatedly, patiently, hour after hour to achieve uniform thickness. The goldsmiths use smooth stones as anvils and rounded bronze tools as hammers. Pure gold is soft and malleable, which makes this work possible but also dangerous. Hammer to hard in one spot, and the metal thins to the point of tearing. The overlay technique requires extraordinary precision. You observe as the gold sheets are cut to size using bronze blades, then carefully fitted to the wooden chest. The gold must wrap around corners without cracking. It must adhere to the wood closely enough that no gaps appear, yet the attachment cannot damage the surface beneath. The smiths use small wooden pegs and folded edges to secure the metal, working section by section, checking and rechecking the fit. The interior gold layer is applied first. You see the craftsman reaching inside the chest, working in confined space with limited visibility, ensuring that the inner surfaces are fully covered. Then the exterior, the molding around the upper edge, is shaped from hammered wire, attached with careful pressure to the rim. Every seam must be invisible. Every surface must gleam without blemish. The capare, the cover, presents the greatest challenge. It must be solid gold, not wood overlaid with gold. You watch as the smiths calculate the weight. A slab of pure gold, measuring roughly 131 by 79 centimeters, thick enough to be structurally sound. will likely weigh several dozen kilograms. This requires melting and casting on a scale far beyond jewelry work. Multiple furnaces operate simultaneously. The pour must be continuous. If the metal cools unevenly, it will crack. The cherubim are not cast separately and attached. The instructions specify that they must be hammered out from the ends of the cover itself miksha, of one piece. This is repousse work at the highest level of difficulty. You watch Bezalel himself execute this task, working from the reverse side, pushing the gold outward into three-dimensional forms, then refining the details from the front. The figures emerge slowly over many days, winged beings, facing each other, their wings extended to form a protective canopy over the cover. The ark is complete. You stand in Bezalel's workshop area, a space defined by woven screens that block the wind and curious eyes, and you see it for the first time as a finished object. The gold surfaces catch the desert light. The cherubim, their features stylized in a manner that suggests Egyptian influence, yet remains distinct, gaze downward with expressions of solemn attention. The carrying poles, sheathed in gold, pass through the rings at the corners and extend beyond the ends of the chest. But completion is not the same as acceptance. You observe the verification process. Moses himself comes to inspect the work. He carries no written checklist. Writing materials are scarce and precious, but he knows the specifications by memory. You watch as he walks slowly around the ark, examining every surface. He runs his fingers along the molding. He checks that the poles cannot be removed from the rings. They are permanently fixed as instructed. He measures with a knotted cord, confirming the dimensions. He examines the cherubim, ensuring their wings extend upward and meet at the center. Their faces turn downward and toward each other. The stone tablets, already inscribed during the days on the mountain, are brought forward. You see Moses place them inside the chest. The ark was built to contain them. Now it fulfills its purpose. The gold cover is lifted. It requires 2 men and set carefully into place. The tabernacle has been under construction simultaneously, and it is now ready to receive its central object. You follow as the ark is carried for the first time. For men Levites, the tribe designated for sanctuary service, grip the poles, 2 at each end. The weight is substantial: the wood, the gold overlay, the solid gold cover, the stone tablets within. You estimate perhaps 150 kilograms total. The men move slowly, their steps coordinated. The tabernacle is a tent, but not like the others in the camp. Its framework is made of acacia boards plated with gold, standing upright in silver sockets. Its coverings are layered, fine linen embroidered with cherubim, then goat hair cloth, then ram skins dyed red, then an outer layer of durable leather. The structure is divided into 2 chambers. The outer chamber contains a lampstand, a table for bread, and an altar for incense. The inner chamber, the most holy place, is empty, separated from the rest by a veil of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn woven with cherubim figures. You pass through the outer chamber and stop at the veil. Only Moses enters beyond this point today. You watch as the veil is drawn aside and the ark is carried into the darkness within. The space measures roughly 20 cubits by 20 cubits, a perfect square, approximately 10 meters on each side. The ark is set down precisely at the center. The veil falls back into place. The ark disappears from view. Its concealment does not diminish its significance. In Israel's understanding, what is most holy is not displayed, it is set apart. It will remain here, unseen by almost everyone, moved only when the entire camp moves, carried always by its poles, never touched directly by human hands. The object that began as acacia trees in a dry riverbed and gold jewelry around Egyptian necks is now the focal point of an entire people's religious life. The workshop falls silent. The furnace is cool. Bezalel and his craftsmen rest. The construction is verified. The installation is complete. If this reconstruction helped you experience Scripture not as distant myth, but as lived history shaped by obedience and purpose, consider supporting this work by subscribing to the channel. New immersive biblical reconstructions are released regularly.